could it be the climate change version of the Pentagon Papers, the famous documents leaked in 1971 that turned the American public against the Vietnam War? Over the weekend, a decade worth of emails and data were stolen from the University of East Anglia in Great Britain from the school's climatic research unit. Skeptics say that among 1,000 emails and 3,000 documents are damning statements that appear to show key scientists in the climate change debate fudged data about the effects of man-made global warming to make it appear worse than it actually was. Clean Sky's Dan Goldstein is in the newsroom now with that story. Dan.
Hey, Susan. Yeah, and no one knows exactly when these emails were stolen. They showed up on Thursday on a website called AirVent from a Russian file server, so nobody has a clue exactly who was responsible. But after that, it spread like wildfire through the internet, and plenty of links have appeared on with these specific emails. Now, here's the background. The University of East Anglia obviously is a key player in the climate debate, and their climate research unit, as you talked about, is also one of those key players. Phil Jones heads the CRU. Now, many of the emails that showed up involved him. Over 1,000 emails, 3,000 pages of documents suddenly appeared on the internet, and many of these were very damaging, at least on the surface, if you look at them. Now, take a look at the first one. Basically, this was from 1999, and Phil Jones was talking to several other climate advocates and fellow scientists, and he said, quote, "I've just completed Mike's nature trick of adding in the real temperatures to each series for the last 20 years, and from 1961 to Keith's, to hide the decline." Now, many climate skeptics say that is the smoking gun, that they say that these climate advocates were really fudging the data to make global warming look worse than it was. And they say it gets even worse. They say here in this one that basically climate scientists were trying to help other climate scientists avoid, or at least trying to make sure that skeptics didn't get a fair shake in other journals. Quote, "I can't see either of these papers being in the next IPCC report." That obviously is the International Panel on Climate Change from the UN. Quote, "Kevin and I will fight them somehow, even if we have to redefine what the peer review literature is." And that obviously was Phil Jones to Penn State University professor Michael Mann back in 2004. Now, the final one was pretty damaging too. Perhaps one of us should look at the request, the data sets used in Pat Michaels' PhD work, talking about a climate scientist at the Cato Institute, and then ask the University of Wisconsin, where Michaels got his degree, to withdraw Michaels' PhD. Bottom line, Susan, this looks pretty damaging, and some scientists, especially one I talked to, Pat Michaels at the Cato Institute, thinks that this could be the climate debate's Watergate.
There are just a whole number of things that are very disturbing, and they're going to continue to be discussed and debated. I don't think it's going to stop. It's going to stop global warming discussion, but you know what? It may have the very good effect of opening up the scientific journals back to where they should be, which would be to have rather spirited discussion of what's going on. That could be a very good effect of this, and I hope that's what happens.
Now, Susan, a lot of the climate advocates that have been mentioned in the stream of emails have all said the same thing, that basically they are cherry picking and choosing out of context a lot of these conversations. Obviously, this goes back 10 years, so you can imagine that a lot of things were said back and forth. But one thing is clear, Susan, this will be of issue coming up in the next couple of weeks. This obviously came out just a few weeks before Copenhagen, and you can imagine, Susan, it's going to be talked about in 2 weeks in Europe.
And some say it's no accident, the timing of the findings of this hacker.
Absolutely, Susan.
All right, Dan Goldstein, thank you.